Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Hout. I'm going to make a video explaining this Unit 2A bonus assignment for the test retakes. So you should have this paper and you should hopefully have tried it already. Otherwise, I'm going to make a key and go through this whole thing. So hopefully this will help you do better when you retake your Chapter 2A test. Okay, so the first part of it is about classification of matter. So we're going to go through these problems. The first column here is asking you to decide if the substance is a pure substance or a mixture. And then the next column is asking you to classify it as an element, a compound, a homogeneous mixture, or a heterogeneous mixture. So let us refresh our memories here for a second here. Something that's pure has everything in there is the same. So all the same stuff is in there. If you have a mixture, you have more than one type of thing present. Okay? All right, and then an element is something off the periodic table. I actually have one here, just a minute. Okay, so an element is any thing that's on your periodic table. So these are all the elements, and then you just don't want to forget these elements back here, which we've started talking about in class right now, the diatomics. So two things that are the same, two H's, two N's, two O's. Those are actually elements. All right. Compounds have more than one different type of element connected together, or, thing, dark circle, white circle. Homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture, we'll get to those in a second. So let's just go through this, okay? And again, hopefully you've already tried it, and you're just checking your answer. So aluminum foil, everything in there is an aluminum foil, so that's a pure substance. And aluminum is straight off the periodic table, right there. So that is an element. All right, here we have a picture of circles. We have one black circle connected to two white circles. But every single thing in there is the same, so that's pure. And because we have different things connected together, that's a compound. All right, every single thing in this, box has a black circle and two white circles. All right, here we have salt, and we have a plus sign plus pure water. So we have two things in there together, so that's a mixture. All right, and homogeneous mixture versus heterogeneous. Well, this is a little bit of a judgment call, but I'm going to assume that all the salt has dissolved and we can't really see any salt particles floating around. So I'm going to call that homogeneous. Okay. All right. Soil, that's dirt. Okay. Dirt is definitely not pure. Okay. That is some kind of mixture. If you look at a handful of dirt, you're going to see a whole bunch of different particles in there. And because you can see rocks and black dirt and maybe some sand and lots of different stuff, that is heterogeneous. Heterogeneous mixture means you can see different particles in there. Okay, this one has a couple different things going on. We have that kind of thing with a black circle and two white circles. That's this one. But we also have this kind of thing, where we have kind of a black long shape, two white ones on that end and two white ones on that one. So those are different from each other. Those are not the same. So that's a mixture. All right. And in terms of heterogeneous or homogeneous, we really have no way of knowing. So who knows? Okay. We can't really answer that. Granite. We have this, SiO2, and this and that. So that is more than one different thing. That's a mixture. All right, and the only way to know if it's homogeneous or heterogeneous is if you've seen granite. If you've looked at a piece of granite, you can actually see dark pieces, brown pieces, white pieces, etc. So I'm going to call that heterogeneous. All right, benzene, C6H6. We have the carbon element and the hydrogen element, and they're together in the same formula. So that is a compound. Oh, sorry, that's pure. The only thing in there is C6H6, and that's a compound. Alrighty, magnesium is an element straight off the periodic table. The only thing in there is magnesium, so that's pure. That's a pure element. Iodine, the only thing in this little box here is iodine, I2. And here you can see that I2 is one of these diatomics, one of these super 7, and that's an element, okay? So that is a pure collection of the element iodine. All right, let's keep going. Carbon monoxide has carbon and oxygen together. The only thing in this box is carbon monoxide, so that's pure, and that's a compound because carbon and oxygen are different from each other. All right, brass, copper plus zinc. That is a mixture. We have two different things in there. Two different elements. That's a mixture of elements. So I'm going to add that on here actually. Mixture of elements. This one is a mixture of compounds. That is a mixture of compounds. That is a mixture of compounds, even though you don't really have the formulas to look at. That's a mixture of compounds. Okay? And then if we go back to brass, if you've looked at a brass ring, actually my wedding ring is, I hope it's gold. He told me it was gold. But if it were brass, you know, you can't really see the different carbon and zinc atoms in there. So that's a homogeneous mixture. It all looks the same. All right, chlorine gas. We have Cl joined to Cl, Cl2. That's pure because the only thing in this little box are these two circles connected, and that's an element. Chlorine is one of these diatomic elements on the back. All right, milk. We have this thing plus water plus that thing. So that's a mixture, and that's a compound, and that's a compound, and that's a compound. So I'm going to call that a mixture of compounds. And milk, hopefully your milk is a homogeneous mixture, meaning if you look at a glass of milk, you don't see other things floating around in there. That is probably not a glass of milk you want to drink, unless you added those other things on purpose. All right, air. We have N2, that's an element. O2, that's an element. So you can see their diatomics right there. There's N2, and that's O2. And argon. Argon is an element. Here's argon right there. And CO2, that's carbon dioxide. So we have a mixture for sure. And we have elements. Nitrogen, oxygen, and argon are elements, and CO2 is a compound. So that is a mixture of elements and compounds. Okay, and then depending on, you know, the air quality, I'm just going to assume we don't see particles floating around in there. That's a homogeneous mixture. All right, we got a couple more. This one, oh, that's the same as that one up there, so let's scratch that off. This one, we have black circles, so that's an element. We have white circles, so that's a different element. Then we have that thing with a black circle and two white circles joined up to it. Black circle, two white, black circle, two white. So that's a compound. So this is a mixture. And we have elements and compounds. Elements and compounds. Alrighty, because those are elements, I'll label those right here. And that is a compound. All right, and since we don't really know what that is, we have actually no idea, no way of knowing whether that is a homogeneous mixture or a heterogeneous mixture. We can't really tell. All right, I'm going to stop on this part now. Okay, so please, please, please ask me if you need help on any of these and try to get this straightened out in your mind before you do the retake. I'm going to make a different video for the rest of this.